Hey guys, it's Miss Mao here with, I guess, what if Deku had a transformation power part 3. I don't know why I'm doing 2 parts of the same series in a row, but I guess I am. Okay, and just so you guys have like a quick warning, the first 2 parts were mainly story building or world building. This part or the next part should have more of the UA situation. But let's start the video already. A news broadcaster can be seen standing in front of a massive hole. Yesterday afternoon, there was a villain attack. The number 3 heroes Hawks responded to the call, only to find 2 individuals with robotic-like quirks fighting each other. She then shows a picture taken by a bystander took of Iron Man and Ironmonger fighting. The larger one is known as Ironmonger and the other one is known as Iron Man. It is believed they are both brothers, but from Hawks has told us they were enemies, and Ironmonger attempted to kill Iron Man. Eventually, Iron Man defeated Ironmonger with Hawk's assistance, which resulted in destruction of 24th Street, which sadly means that she will be unusable. The broadcast then ends. Izuku can be seen watching the news, and he has a few bruises on him. Izuku realized something. If his transformation suffered damage, he suffers it at will. But that is not as important, because Izuku realized something else. After the fight, he needs to train harder. As he's thinking, Friday chimes in and interrupts his thoughts. Boss, are you okay? Izuku realizes that she's talking to her and responds, Yeah, I'm okay. Izuku then looks at the TV as the reporter explains how repairing the damage would disrupt traffic. That's when Izuku looks back at Friday. Actually, Friday, I have a question. How long will it take the city to repair the damage? Friday then started to calculate. It will take around a month, sir. And that is if they start immediately. This makes Izuku frown. He realized something. Hey Friday, do you remember when I created the cleanup operation? Of course, boss, you called it ECO, Environment Cleanup Operation. They've already started taking care of the environment. They are nearly finished cleaning up Diagonal Beach. Friday then sends Izuku a picture of the volunteers and some workers he hired cleaning the beach. Izuku stands up and starts to pace. I want to create a new department or branch. This makes Friday raise a digital eyebrow. I want to create a branch where they repair any damages caused by hero fights. This comment confuses Friday. Boss, what are you describing as an insurance company? And those things already exist. Izuku just sighs. That's not what I meant, Friday. This is not some insurance company, but also a construction company. They will repair the environment quicker and cheaper, so people won't have to suffer as much when a hero fights or fails to protect their city or home. It made Izuku look at his hand and his opponent for failing to protect the city, or protecting the environment. Friday then responds, I think that's a wonderful idea, sir. I will immediately find a worker with construction backgrounds. Friday was about to create a job request. Izuku remembers something. He remembers how the reporter said they had robot-like quirks, and Izuku remembered the robot part. I have an idea. It then cuts to 2 weeks later. A bunch of people are surrounding an area. They're taking videos and photos. You'll be asking, what? Well, you see in front of them is a set of 3 robots, which in front of the hole created by Ironmonger. They are currently smoothing out the asphalt to reduce bumps and making it smoother for the drivers. Then a man walks up to them and asks, what are you doing? The robots just look at him and respond, we are robots created by Stark Industries. Our job is to repair any damage that Mr. Stark requested us to fix. This man is shocked to hear that. These guys are actually robots? Because the only robots that are really known are the ones that UA BattleBots, but they're a lot bigger and clunkier. Freaking asks a question, which these guys are much slimmer. Freaking asks another question, the android cuts him off. We are sorry, sir, but we must return to receive our next objective. They then start to fly away. As they fly away, people turn and look at the small barrier. The androids left a warning sign, saying the asphalt needs to be set before the road can be used. But they then notice the set words, damage control, a Stark Industry branch. We then cut to Izuku. He created damage control to fulfill people's demands for repairs after villains' attacks, for much better price, but he's not finished just yet. A group of construction workers can be seen working on a construction site. The same workers that were working on finishing the Stark Industry towers. They all turn their heads to see a group of robots walk up to them, with a Stark Industry logo on their shoulders and damage control on their chest. The foreman walked up to them. Can we help you, gentlemen? The foreman gave them an uneasy look. The robot just stared back with an emotionless face. We're here to finish construction on Stark Tower. I beg gives the robot another look, then the foreman speaks. We're hired by Stark Industries to build this place in the first place. We are fully aware, which is why we've been directed to hand you this. The foreman grabs the paper. As he reads it, his eyes widen. He then shows it to workers, which most of them have their eyes widened too. Then he's talking to some of his workers. He walks by to the robots. We're going to have to discuss this with our families first. The robot says and doesn't say anything to the foreman until they hand him a card. Understandable. Once you reach a decision, contact us. They then leave. It cuts to a couple hours later. The foreman is currently talking to his wife, who is shocked. Are you going to take the offer? She questioned. The foreman laughs and says, it's kind of hard not to. So Industries has offered to buy our company and have us work for him. He's giving us benefits, discounted material, better pay. It's almost too perfect. Heck, I'm pretty sure we might be losing money on this. The foreman then pinches the bridge of his nose. It's a great offer. And with this, we won't struggle again. The foreman then looked away in shame. Not to mention, if we accept this offer, we can better support our daughter when she tries to offer you away. His wife then smiles at him. Next day, the foreman calls the robot and tells him he accepts the offer. But one condition, he wants to meet their boss. Next day, the foreman is outside waiting. That's when a sharply dressed man appears. Izuku realizes he can't show up himself. I mean, it'd be pretty suspicious if a 16-year-old appeared and claimed he was the owner of this $1 million business already. So he did the only reasonable thing he could do. He transformed into Iron Man and took the armor off, and went as Tony Stark. As the foreman sees him, he chuckles. I didn't expect that you were American. Putting into his glasses, appearances can be deceiving. He then walks up to the foreman. So what do you need to discuss? The foreman laughs, says, your Japanese is incredible, but nothing much. I just want to meet my new boss in person. He then extends his hands and introduces himself. The name's Uraka. Tony chuckles and grabs his hand and they shake. The name's Tony Stark. As he finishes introducing himself, he leaves, but not without leaving behind a few robots. He then has a flashback. He's speaking to Friday. Boss, I'm a little worried. When you finish building the Iron Legion for damage control project, they will repair any damage you ask for 3 times faster and more effectively. Want the people out of work? Izuku just stared at the screen before responding. I know, Friday. That's why I plan on offering them a spot with Stark Industries. So instead of damage control taking their job, they will work with them. Sort of the same as them being a power drill, just way better. We then cut to the present day. But before he leaves, he looks at the construction site and sees the robots helping the workers repair any damage caused by the building by lifting materials they're asking for or helping them build things. We then cut to a month later. A bunch of reporters are taking pictures. Now we may be asking why, or what they're taking pictures of to be more precise. But today is the grand opening of Stark Tower. A reporter instantly walks up to Tony Stark. Make this quick, Tony told them. He looks at his watch. I got 7 minutes. The reporter just smiles. Okay then, what made you come to Japan and start your company? Where's your quirk? Your robots resemble the Vigilantes on Iron Man. Any comments? How is Stark Industries so bad in the technology department? Are you single? As the reporter starts to pant after asking so many questions without taking a breath, Tony just stares at her. A second later, Tony speaks. I was born and raised in Japan. I started in Stark Industries to help my city and its people. I'm quirkless. I have no relationship with Iron Man, but I did base my idea for my robots off his design. Stark Industries is so advanced because I'm a genius that I've invented everything the company has released. And I am single but not looking. Tony then began to walk away. As the reporter just stares, she gains an edge surprise explosion. Wait, did he just say he was quirkless? Tony just ignores her and enters the building. As he enters the elevator, he sighs before turning back to Izuku Midoriya. Friday, take me to the penthouse. The elevator starts to go up as he reaches the top floor. It opens. Izuku walks out and sees his worried mother trying to take a moving box away from a robot. He then sighs before walking towards her. Mom, what are you doing? Izuku then stops trying to take the box from the robot and looks towards Izuku. Honey, I'm trying to help with the moving process, but your machines won't let me. Izuku gives his mom a tired look. Izuku then sighs before she continues speaking. Sweetheart, I'm sorry, I'm just not used to this. When you first told me about your quirk, I was surprised. But then you told me you're a millionaire, then you told me you started a company? It's just so hard to get used to. There are too many changes in a short time. Izuku then sat down on some boxes. Izuku sat down as well. Mom, I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of changes, but I'm doing this for us. You won't ever need to clean, wash dishes, buy groceries. The robots will all do that for us. Izuku then grabs mother's hands. Izuku then looked at her son. Izuku looked at her son. Izuku, it's my job to take care of you, not for you to take care of me. Izuku looked down in shame. Izuku then stood up. Well, the robots can't replicate your cooking. You can still cook for us. Please, Mom, let me help you. Izuku then chuckled a bit. Izuku started to laugh as well until she gets up and she tells Izuku she will try. A little bit later, as the robot is finishing installing the new furniture, he he bought and finished bringing. Sorry, I lost my track of words a little bit. A little bit later, as the robot is finishing installing the new furniture he bought, and finished bringing out the movie boxes from the old apartment, a ring on a coffee machine starts to glow. The coffee machine then speaks. Boss, the thing you asked for. The robot has built it. It has been finished. Izuku gets up and thanks Friday. He continues to walk until he reaches the door. He then walks into the room. The room is pure white. Some sort of plating on the floor and the walls. Izuku cracks his neck before he speaks. Training room, activate. Select level 1. So Izuku says this. The floor starts to open up and a strange pillars with blades start spinning around. A set of targets appear on the wall. Izuku has 2 months to train for UA entrance exam. And with this new advanced training room, he'll be able to improve his training. Thank you, Tony Stark's legends. It's 2 months later. Inko is drinking some tea, but then she hears a crash. Izuku runs out of the room, screaming, I'm going to be late! He opens the fridge and starts to grab food, and starts to eat on the way, like an apple or protein bar and a bottle of water. He then starts to run to his balcony, but before he can jump, he hears his mom cough. Izuku turns his head to see his mom with her arm crossed. Izuku, I told you, you can't use your quirk when it's convenient, so take the elevator and go to school normally. Izuku then points to the elevator. Izuku quickly apologizes before taking the elevator down to the parking garage. He enters this black and slim car. He then calls Friday. Friday, I need you to get me to school as quickly as possible. Izuku starts to eat his breakfast. Friday then starts the car and takes control of it. Don't worry, boss. I will make sure you arrive on time. Friday then starts to drive the car. As they arrive, Izuku thanks Friday as she leaves to park the car. Thankfully, Izuku invented a self-driving car which Friday can control. Izuku stops and stares at the UA building. He's kind of impressed. Soon he snapped out a thought as something bumps into him. He turns to see it's Bakugo. Get out of my way, you stupid Deku! After Bakugo insults him and walks off, with Izuku just sighing. Man, why is he so grouchy? Izuku jumps a bit after hearing a mysterious voice. He then turns around to see a girl show up around her. Izuku eventually calms down and explains why Bakugo's like that. He was just overconfident and cocky because he was praised a lot for his quirk. As the girl gave Izuku a look, Izuku realized he didn't introduce himself. Oh, my name is Izuku Midoriya. He then extends his hand. The girl extends her hand as well and shakes Izuku's hand. Introduces herself. My name is Yuraka Chaka. I would love to talk, but we should probably get inside. Yuraka then leaves to enter the building. And Izuku is mentally panicking because he's such a girl. But he then enters without Tony Stark confidence. But he then enters the building as well. But he ponders something. Why does that name sound so familiar? As he enters the building, everything seems pretty normal. Izuku first had to take the written portion of the test. He got what he believed was a decent score, but he mainly focused on his skills of transformation. Also, when he finished the test, he mentally facepalmed for not using Tony Stark to get perfect 100% score. After taking the test, he enters the auditorium so that they can explain the practical part of the exam. The hero known as President Mike shows up. Nothing that Izuku would consider know where it happened, well, except for one thing. Izuku's mumbling about what form he should use during the test. An Arcan citizen with blue hair stood up and spoke. Sir, according to UA guide, there are 4 robots, but you have only mentioned 3. If this is an error on the school's behalf, then I believe UA is setting a bad example. He then points to Izuku. And you over there! Stop mumbling, you're distracting everybody else. Izuku quickly apologized and President Mike explained that the 4th robot doesn't matter, this is just an obstacle. As everybody goes outside, Izuku is looking through his book trying to decide which form he should transform into. But then he noticed something. The girl from earlier is fidgeting. Izuku was going to ask her what was wrong, but the blue-haired assistant stops him. What are you planning on doing? Izuku looked up to the blue-haired boy as he kept talking. We are planning on sabotaging her before the test. I will not allow that unheroic behavior. Izuku tries to get in a word in, but the boy does not allow it, so Izuku is just sent back to his spot. As everybody waits for the door to the training site to open up, they see a replica of a city. As it opens, they all wait and stare until they hear President Mike's voice over the speaker. What are you waiting for? There's no countdowns in a real battle? Everybody starts to run with Levi taking the lead. Izuku started to run as he put his book away, because he figured out which form to use. He then speaks his name, Tracer! With the name spoken, Izuku is then going for a cosmic light, as he is replaced by a woman in her 20s. He's wearing a tight yellow pants, a strange jacket which resembles an Air Force jacket. Most importantly, a strange device can be seen on her chest. Some sort of weird circle with a blue energy inside of it. This is Tracer from Overwatch. Izuku turns to the Tracer, he says only one thing. Cheers, love! The cavalry's here! Teresa then uses her blink ability, which sends her body a couple seconds in the future, sending her to where she should be standing in a couple seconds, making it seem like she's teleported. As Yorka is fighting some of the robots, she sees one of them get shot a dozen times by some sort of strange energy bullet. She turns her head to see Tracer blink everywhere. Yorka sees Tracer about to get hit, but before she gets hit, she says, "Let's try that again." At the last minute, Tracer uses her recall ability, which sends her body back at a couple seconds, which restores her stamina, bullets, and sends her back to where she was standing a couple seconds before. As she shoots at a bunch, it falls. Tracer then sees Yorka and smiles before she blinks away. As she leaves, Yorka only has one question to herself. Who was that lady? Is she a teacher? Somewhere else, in a hidden room, the teacher could be seen watching a student take the test. As the teacher watches, a man with long hair, bags under his eyes, and he looks like a hobo gets closer. As he watches, he asks the person next to him, "Hey Nezu, who's that girl teleporting everywhere? Aren't they a little old to be going to UA?" Next to him is a small white creature wearing a suit, and who seems to be a mix of multiple creatures, but he's also drinking tea. As he's finished taking his sip, he answers the question. "Well, you see, Aizawa, that's not a girl, or at least that's what I'm assuming." The strange creature responded. The homeless man looked at him. The homeless man is named Aizawa. Aizawa gives the strange animal person named Nezu a confused look. Nezu sees this expression and decides to elaborate. "You see, that boy has a strange transformation quirk. It lets him turn into different people." President pulls out a paper and he continues talking. According to his quirk information, that form is known as Tracer, and she's not teleporting, she's altering her time. In other words, she's fast forwarding herself, which makes it seem like she's teleporting. Aizawa was about to speak before somebody interrupted her. A woman with very rainy clothing can be seen. This is the plus 18 hero, Midnight. She just stares at the student, but then she speaks. "Are you telling me this boy has a quirk that allows him to turn into a 20-year-old hot babe?" She then giggles before she points and keeps speaking. "I mean, look at her hips and curves. She's a foreigner, which kind of adds to the charm. And don't forget about those pants. They show off her amazing Before she can finish her sentence, she is interrupted. This interrupts her and reminds her of something very important. "Midnight, remember that is a potential student and underage." This then sips his tea as Midnight groans. That's when a strange man with white hair, a red costume and two fangs appears. This is Black King, the future teacher of Class 1B. He then lifts his chin before he speaks. "What do you mean, potential student? He seems to be incredibly skilled and powerful with just that one form. You say he has multiple forms?" Nezu just smiles and answers the question. "Well, we still need to see how he handles the 0-pointer. Nezu then presses a button. We then cut back to the training site. A couple contestants are about to get crushed by a robot. Before he can smash them, out of nowhere, it disc hits it, and it sticks to their head. Nothing happens for a second, but then it explodes. That's when they turn to see Tracer. Nailed it! Tracer then looks at the two kids. "Are you two okay?" They just nod before she runs off. But she doesn't notice how they're staring at her behind, because they're teenagers. If you get that meme, you're a fan. Tracer keeps running around and blinking when she stops as the floor shakes. She then looks around, but stops. Can only see one thing. "Well, that's a big boy." She watches as a 0-pointer, a robot the size of a 6-floor building, bulldozes through the city, forcing other contestants to run. Just as Tracer is about to follow, she hears something. A girl can be seen stuck under some sort of rubble, and the robot getting closer and closer. It's the girl from earlier, Yuraka. She's in size. Bloody hell! She then starts to blink towards the stuck girl. As she arrives really quickly, due to her power, she's greeted Yuraka. "Greetings, love! Don't worry, the cavalry's here." Tracer then proceeds to struggle and fails to lift the debris. Yuraka gives Tracer a look, and Tracer only has one thing to say. "Hey, I'm a shooter, not a bodybuilder." She then sees the 0-pointer is getting closer. So she pulls out her book of heroes and starts to look for somebody that can take it down. She turns to a certain page. She can only say one thing. Well, I hope she can take it down. The way it prepares to smash her. That's when Izuku transforms. But before he can, Tracer screams a name. "Mine!" A bright cosmic light has engulfed her. As the 0-pointer is less than an inch away, out of nowhere, a huge beam can be seen. As the beam fades away, all you can see is the 0-pointer's arms have been blown off in a giant hole in the 0-pointer's face. It starts to lean before it tips over and falls on the ground. As it falls over, it stirs up a huge cloud of dust and debris. As the dust starts to fade away, Yurika looks around only to see a young girl. She seems to be like in her early teens. She has very long pink hair and that is in twin tails. One on each side. Somehow her twin tails are free flowing, with the air despite it not being windy at all. She has a big pink eyes. She wears a pink outfit consisting of a tiny shawl with a high collar, a pink long-sleeve shirt, a gown, and a black stocking with pink shoes. This girl is Izuku's fourth form, mine, from a Amika kill. As mine, dang it, sorry guys. As mine fans the dust off her, she looks around and sees Yuraka still stuck in the rubble. She walks to her and asks, "Do you need any help?" She smiles at Yuraka, which for some reason makes Yuraka blush. As she snaps herself out of it, she asks her a question. "Yeah, I can use some help." Yuraka expected Mine to get the rubble off her, but instead she watched Mine struggle to lift the rubble, only for her to fail and going like she's getting punched. Yuraka tries not to laugh, but eventually falls and starts to chuckle. Mine hears this and hears her chuckle, which angers her. It makes her shout at Yuraka, "Hey, it's not funny, I'm a gunner, not a musclehead." Yuraka ignores her and continues laughing. As Yuraka tries to speak with her so often chuckling, she explains why. "I'm so sorry, you acted so cool and need to struggle right after." This comment upset Mine. As Mine gets angry, she started to shout even more. "Well, sorry for trying to help," she says in a sarcastic tone. "What did you expect? I'm a small and I use a gun. You know what? Help yourself. It's not like I saved you because I like you, you baka." Mine then pounds and turns the other direction. This makes an anime sweatshop appear on Yuraka's head, and she asks herself mentally 2 questions. 1. Does she have a short temper? And 2. Is she a Tsunere? Eventually a hero known as Cementos helps remove the rubble, and a nurse named Rikarigo heals her. After she heals Yuraka, Mine leaves and took her self-driving car home, and ranted how rude that girl was to Friday. Eventually they arrived at Stark Tower / Izuku Tower, and he goes home. Luckily, Izuku time limit ran out before he got home, so all Izuku needs to do was wait for his limit from UA to arrive. Well, that was supposed to happen. Izuku was working on something when he accidentally knocked over a book of heroes. As he knocked it over, he realized something. At the very end of the book, it's a weird page. It looks like some sort of achievement list. There are currently 2 achievements. Create stricken histories, and do your first art piece of Miles Morales. He's confused about this, and where they came from, how he never noticed. He's rubbing his fingers against it. They start to glow before Izuku noticed something. The number in his palm is changing. Instead of being 10 minutes, they've been changed to 12 minutes. As then Izuku realized something. The achievement extends the time limit. He needs to study this more. Before he can, Friday tells him it's here. Izuku is sitting at his workstation, or lab table, in Tony's lab. In front of him is a UA letter. As Izuku stares at it, he's trying to work up the courage to open it. As he stares at it, he says one thing. "Screw it, I give up." He then transforms to Tracer. Tracer grabs the envelope. Grabs the envelope. They get this over with. Tracer attempts to open the envelope. As she opens it, she's gonna say one thing. "I'm already regretting this." Because even though Tracer is hyperactive and joyful personality, she still has a bit of Izuku's nervousness. As Tracer opens it, a disc pops out. It starts to play a hologram of the one and only All Might. As All Might starts to speak, Tracer pays close attention. "Greetings, Izuku Midoriya. I have to admit, you had a quite interesting quirk. A quirk like yours is one of a kind. So I'm so happy to admit that you are not part of Class 1A, the Heroics Department. Welcome to your Hero Academy." As All Might finished normally, Izuku would cry out, but because he just from Tracer, he acted very differently. He goes drinking some tea, but out of nowhere, Tracer appears out of nowhere and blinks everywhere while cheering. He confuses Inko. "Sweetheart, what's going on?" As Inko asks, she gets hugged by a happy Tracer saying, "I got into a hero course!" Inko just smiles and pats Tracer on the head, still confused how to react since Izuku isn't transformed itself. But that's where the video ends, guys. I hope you guys liked it, and tell me what you guys want in the future. But also share this and comment, because I like your sharing, because sharing helps me and commenting makes the video seem better. For now, peace out and goodbye.